What's up, guys? It's Verity Moto Vlogs, and today we are going to talk about how to get into motorcycle riding. So, let's get into it. So, I guess we could talk about riding with the clutch, knowing how to work the clutch, and yeah. When it comes to riding motorcycles, it's basically like a bicycle, right? But the different things is that you have an engine and all motorcycles come in manual, as far as I know. All motorcycles come in manual, so you have to learn how to shift the bike in order for you to drive, so this is basically my bike. It's a V-Star 250 2017 model, and they have all these levers, all these contraptions. I will show you what most of them do. So normally on most bikes there's a key fob right here that goes in the middle. Mine's is at the bottom, and you have all your controls on the handlebars. My neutral in the middle, I don't know if y'all can see that, but my neutral, blinkers, high, my headlight, the speedometer, miles, all that stuff right there. So these are my headlights, indicators, horn. The horn, I'm not going to press it. My bike is rolling right now because I'm in neutral, but the engine, this is the kill switch. So say if I wanted the bike on, flip it down, press the engine start button right here, and it will start. And if I wanted to shut it off, just flip the kill switch, turn the key. But back foot brake, that's the I forgot what it's called, but it's what you use to shift for it, right? So these two levers right here, the right one, all the right side of the bike is for braking. So this would be my front brake, and the one on the bottom, the little peg on the bottom, would be the back brake. For on the left side, this is where I shift. This is where I shift the bike. So this lever is for the is the clutch. This is the clutch, and at the bottom is where you shift. So right now I am in neutral, so I'll pull the clutch all the way in, press the button down, or press the lever down, and I will go in, and the engine will start carrying me. Now this is no gas, not giving it any gas from the lever. This is just the engine moving it on its own right now. Normally, if you do it too fast, if you let go of the clutch lever too fast, the engine will shut off. Yeah, if you let the clutch go too fast, the engine will shut off like that, right? And it will yank you forward. I almost I almost fell doing that. But anyway, that's pretty much how that's somewhat how the clutch works when it comes to like, I guess, coasting forward. Now driving, you'll give it some gas. So what you want to do is, when you're wanting to give it gas, you will slowly let go of the clutch and start giving it gas by twisting this right handlebar right there. So that right handlebar, that's how you're gonna start moving the bike. And depending on how fast you want to go, depending on how fast you want to go, you'll give it more gas or you give it less gas. Now when it comes to shifting, you have to learn how to shift a motorcycle if you're going to be driving it on the street and without people getting mad at you. So I'm driving and I wanted to shift, right? So what I would do is I'll grab the clutch, I'll pull it all the way in, let go of the gas, I use my left foot and go like that, and then I'll let go of the clutch by giving it, and then give it more gas. So I'll do it again right now. Hopefully y'all see. All right, okay, I want to shift. I pull in the clutch, let go of the gas, lift up the lever, and then keep it going. Like that. Shift. That's pretty much it to shifting the motorcycle. It's fairly easy. I learned in a couple days when I went to the CHP course, the CSP motorcycle course. It's very easy to do. It just takes some time to getting used to, because all bikes are different. My bike is a cruiser, so my foot pegs are in a different spot. There's motorcycles where your foot peg will be all the way up here. There's the ones that's going to be somewhere in the middle, and then you got the sport bikes that's going to be all the way in the back, and your leg is like all the way bent, right? So, but yeah, for shifting, that's pretty much it. You want to shift, pull in the clutch, let go of the gas, and shift up with your left foot. Eventually, when you start getting used to it, it will be a lot easier for you, especially when you know when you need to shift. It will just come as second nature to you. Now, when it comes to downshifting, it's a little bit different. Now, you don't want to downshift while your engine revs are still high. The reason for it is because once you do that, your back tire will lose a lot of traction because of the engine. If you downshift too early while the revs are still really high, your tire will start to spin. Your back tire will start to spin, and it will start to lock up because your revs are a little bit too high, right? So what most people do is what I do also is I rev match, right? So I don't have a good example right here, but what I would do is, say when I'm coming to a stop, I could do it at that stoplight, but it depends. Say that I'm coming to a stop, right? Alright, so this is what I'm talking about. Say that I'm coming to the stop, I would do this to make sure my RPMs are not too high. I'll blip the throttle, and it will pretty much make sure the bike it's not too high in the RPMs. And it works. It does work, and it's very helpful. But sometimes it could be a little bit tricky because you have to have your hand on the front brake at the same time as blipping the throttle. But it does take some practice, and once you have that time to practice it, it's second nature to you also. So shifting, the blipping of the throttle, so your engine can rev match. It's very second nature. Cars do this too, but theirs is a lot quieter. It's a lot quieter. But that's pretty much how you rev match your motorcycle, so your back tire doesn't lock up in case that you downshift and you're too high in the RPMs, right? Leaning the bike. Now, I know some of y'all, probably most of y'all, heard of counter steering. I don't know how to explain it, but if you have ever ridden a bicycle, you have done it before. So counter steering, you push right to go right, you push left to go left, and I'll give you an example for that right now. So for counter steering, you don't turn the handlebar one way, Like say if I want to turn the handlebar left, right, I start turning it left and I'll start going right. And say if I wanted to turn right, you do not turn the handlebar right to go right. If you turn the handlebar to go right, you start going left. So what you do is you want to push the handlebar in the direction you want to go. So say that I want to go, I don't know, so say that I want to go right. So what I'll do, I'll keep gas and I'll push the handlebar to the right, and the bike will turn right. Now if I try to turn the handlebar, you see how I'm going, my bike is sitting back up because it wants to go left since I'm turning the handlebar right, which you do not want to do. What you want to do is push the handlebar in the direction you want to go. So instead of turning it, you'll push it. So for example, I want to switch lanes. Check. I will push the motorcycle and it will go right. If you ever ridden a bicycle, you'll already pretty much know how to turn the motorcycle. It's very easy. And the weight, motorcycle, everybody thinks of motorcycles that are heavy. When you're up to speed, they're not as heavy as you think. They're not as heavy as it feels on paper, So like for example, my bike is not the heaviest. My bike is only 350 pounds. And right now I feel like I feel I am very nimble. I could do all this all the time, all day if I want to, because the bike doesn't feel heavy at all, So but when you're stopped, yeah, it can feel heavy. It depends on where most of the weight is at. Most of the time the weight on a motorcycle is at the bottom, and that's not going to really affect your driving as so as I think. It's not going to affect you much. But so a perfect example, say I want to turn right, I will push the handlebar and I'll turn right, That's pretty much how you turn the motorcycle without turning a different direction that you don't want to go. So mine is counter steering. I do believe that turning sports bikes and cruisers like mine you pretty much turn the same way. There's only so much of a lane angle you could turn, right? So for sports bikes it's a lot higher because they sit up higher and the pegs are higher onto the bike. But for cruisers, cruisers are normally down to the ground, right? And the pegs are very low down there, right? So you have more of a lean angle to play with on a sports bike than you do on a cruiser. And you never want to over lean a bike, if that makes sense. You never want to over turn a turn, because if you end up doing that, your bike will fall over and you're low side. That's something you don't want to do. So if you believe you can't make a turn at the speed you're going, you always slow down. You'll always slow down and never overthink. Basically, never overthink a turn. But if you think you're going too fast, you can slow down a little bit and it'll make the turn a lot easier. But don't completely lock up the brakes and stop while you're turning. There's a thing that some people do that is called trail braking. It's basically when your right foot is on the back brake, and while you are turning, you're applying slight pressure to the back brake so the bike could be a little bit more stable. Or as an alternative, you could do is if you have to slow down during the corner, you can let go of the throttle and it will also help. It helps a lot. So pretty much a review of what I was talking about. So pretty much a review I was talking about for the clutch. When you're starting to drive, make sure you do not let go of the clutch all the way, or you're gonna stall your bike. The bike's gonna push you forward and you're gonna be flying backwards if you're not fast enough, you know. And if you want to start going at speeds, if you want to start going at speeds from a stop, you want to let go of the brake, let go of the clutch slowly, but also give it throttle. So I have the clutch, I'll let go slowly and then give it some throttle, and the bike will take care of the rest. For turning, you never want to turn the way you want to go. You always want to push the bike where you want to go. So you don't want to turn like this. You don't want to do that. What you want to do is push the handlebar. While you're pushing the handlebar, the bike will go where you want to go. And another thing I forgot to mention, your front brake is your strongest brake that you have. The back brake is there to give yourself a little bit of support and all that, but I believe the front brake is like 80% of your braking power and the back brake is 20. So you do want to keep that in mind if you're going to brake. Make sure you don't use too much back brake, or your back tire is going to lock up and you're pretty much slide on that back tire, and there's a chance that you're a low side, or if you let go of that back brake that you locked up way too fast, you're going to high side, because that rear wheel will immediately catch traction and you'll be thrown across the street. That you don't want. So that's pretty much a brief introduction to driving motorcycles. I'm sure there are things that I forgot to mention. But I will have an updated video about this topic, and it will be longer and more detailed. So stay tuned for that. And yeah, to like, comment, subscribe if you're new to the channel. And I'll see you in the next one.